All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking Chapter 8, Additional Vocations. We're going to explore the hidden, underlying connections that bring our entire built environment to life, uncovering the universal frameworks of craftsmanship across everyday trades.
So, what on earth does a master carpenter have in common with a line cook? I know, it sounds like a weird riddle, right? But stick with me. Today, we're actually going to reveal the universal DNA that links seemingly completely unrelated trades. By the end of this explainer, the answer is going to be perfectly clear.
Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with a universal framework, then see how it applies to sheet metal work, plumbing, food processing, and furniture making before tying the whole thing together.
Part 1. Universal Framework, the Blueprint of Craft.
Okay, so literally every physical craft out there follows this foundational 5-step blueprint. First up, design and estimate. Basically, scoping out the task and picking your materials. Then, we measure and mark, which is deciding exactly where material needs to be added or removed. Step 3 is cut and shape, where you're actually altering that raw state. Step 4, join and assemble, using your fasteners or adhesives. And finally, step 5 is the finish, smoothing things out and checking all your parameters. From that very first idea down to the final polish, these 5 steps govern every physical trade.
Part 2. Mastering sheet metal work, shaping the future. If you're working with materials like steel, aluminum, or copper, you've got to obsess over the details. Enter the burr. That's the nasty, sharp little edge left behind after you cut sheet metal. In the metalworker's vocabulary, dealing with the burr isn't just a quality issue, it's a critical safety step. You absolutely must remove it before moving to assembly if you want a safe, perfectly flush fit.
Think about the flow of a metalworker's bench. You don't just start hacking away at metal, right? You actually start with a cardboard or paper prototype. Then you move to cutting with tin snips or shears. Next, you shape it with a hammer or mallet. Join it together with rivets, and finish it off with a file or grinder to remove those nasty burrs we just talked about. It's a perfect physical manifestation of our 5-step blueprint, achieving highly accurate dimensions with minimal waste. Part 3. Plumbing, managing the flow. Now, let's look at a trade where the materials aren't just solid sheets, but engineered systems carrying crucial liquids and gases. With plumbing, the name of the game is flow. That continuous, completely unimpeded movement of water. The ultimate goal here is leak-free fluid management. You pull that off by meticulously controlling valves and creating incredibly precise joints. Because, let's face it, if the flow isn't continuous, the entire system fails. When a plumber is cutting and joining PVC or CPVC pipes, there's one golden, uncompromising safety rule they have to follow. To get those 100% leak-free joints, a plumber's hands must remain completely dry while handling their tools and fittings to prevent any slippage. It sounds like a simple, everyday rule, but it totally underscores the absolute precision required when you're working in a fluid medium.
Part 4. Science of food processing.
I know, throwing the culinary lab into the mix might seem a bit out of left field, but food processing fits our blueprint beautifully. Unlike the linear cutting of metal or pipe, food processing is a continuous cycle. You're transforming raw organics, like grains, fruits, and veggies, into safe, long-lasting products through active processing and specialized preservation. It really is the science of sustenance and constant motion.
Think about the culinary toolkit. The prep phase, using knives, peelers, chopping boards, that maps perfectly to the measure and cut steps from our universal framework. But notice how the end goals shift. Instead of worrying about load-bearing strength, cooks are focused on strict hygiene parameters, like completely avoiding cross-contamination between raw and processed foods. The medium changes, the tools adapt, but that underlying structure of craftsmanship, it remains exactly the same.
Part 5. Furniture making. For our final workshop visit, we're looking at carpentry, where wood and engineered boards become weight-bearing products. Before a carpenter even picks up a saw, selecting the right medium is absolutely essential. They have to start with seasoned wood that's been deliberately dried out to reduce its moisture content. Why? Well, if you don't do this, you literally cannot guarantee the final piece won't warp over time. It's all about ensuring strong, stable utility right from step 1.
And just like our metalworker earlier, a carpenter relies heavily on prototyping. They'll whip up a test model in cardboard to make absolutely sure their highly specific joinery is going to fit perfectly flush and safely support the intended loads. Sure, the tools are different, handsaws, chisels, planes, but the discipline behind using them is completely universal.
Part 6.
The matrix of craftsmanship.
This is where it all clicks. Comparing these trades side by side really pulls back the curtain. We've even thrown pottery in the mix here to show just how far this extends. Whether your primary medium is aluminum, PVC pipes, raw organics, seasoned wood, or clay, whether your core action is forming, controlling flow, cooking, joinery, or molding, and whether you rely on rivets, adhesives, preservation, screws, or a blazing hot kiln, you are fundamentally executing the exact same core actions. It's honestly fascinating how connected all these trades truly are.
So, pulling it all together, what are the non-negotiables for true craftsmanship? Well, first off, uncompromising safety, wearing your PPE and keeping that workspace clean. Second, precision and planning. Remember, success is determined in the design phase, way before you make your first cut. Third, environmental responsibility, which means continually minimizing our waste. And finally, the ultimate goal, transforming raw materials into items of lasting human utility through a relentless attention to quality.
Now that you know the universal blueprint, I've got a challenge for you. Look around the room you're in right now. Can you identify the raw materials and the frameworks that shape your everyday surroundings? From here on out, I challenge you to never look at a pipe, a desk, or even your dinner the exact same way again. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep looking for the blueprints all around you.